Aiden Belcher, I was wondering, why do you think this extreme version of the Joker is so popular to use, and what do you think is the best way to portray a character like Joker? How do you balance the psychopath and the clown aspects of the character? I mean, Joker is, he's obviously an iconic character, and I preferred him, in his classic form as a trickster, a foil for Batman, but not necessarily his arch enemy. Back when I started reading about the Joker, he was obviously mentally deranged, but he could get a gang of criminals together because he came up with very clever ideas for heists and robberies and crimes. And when I started reading about the Joker, he didn't want Batman around. He would make moves in order that Batman didn't show up. His day was ruined when the Dark Knight arrived. And that kind of got flipped on its head in later years, which I'll talk about more in just a minute. But and this was kind of solidified by the portrayal on television, the 1966 television series of Batman. The writers of that show kind of had to figure out the characters more. They had to give them a little bit more depth than the comics had. The comic books at the time, it was enough that the Joker was zany and crazy and lots of nutty visuals and all the rest of it. But for the television show, they made the move to have him actually be funny. Before that, Joker wasn't particularly funny. His jokes were, he was the only one who laughed at his jokes. Nobody else did. But Cesar Romero's portrayal combined with the material they wrote for him, it was a funny character. So he was kind of charming. He was still, deranged and goofy and vain and cowardly. But now his jokes actually made you laugh. And then sometimes you laughed at him when he wasn't trying to be funny because it was, dismayed reaction at the arrival of Batman. But still, in the TV version, he wanted to avoid Batman, not draw him to him. The way the Riddler seemed to be more involved. The Riddler seemed to want to draw Batman toward him. Joker wanted to be left in peace, but Batman just would never leave him alone. And we get to the animated series version, and they kind of take that even further. I mean, the animated Joker, he's very funny. Not only Mark Hamill's performance, but the material they write for him. He's a laugh-out-loud funny guy. A little bit more perverse, obviously a little bit more psychotic than his previous portrayals. But he's still true to the comic version and the 66 television version in that he's vain, he's cowardly, he's mercurial. But the most important thing the animated series brought was that he's unpredictable. And at the time, there was a lot of cross-pollination between the animated guys and all of us working on the comics. And it was great because there was, I hate the word synergy, but there was a synergy. Denny had hired these younger guys to assist him. So we had these 3 younger guys. And then the animated series is coming around. And we have Paul Dini and Bruce Timm visiting the DC offices all the time. And there's a lot of exchanges going on about what these characters are about and what they're like. A lot of serious discussions about this stuff. And what we all took away from it, I think organically, almost all at the same time, was that Joker was really, really unpredictable. You didn't know what he was going to do. Even he didn't know what he was going to do from moment to moment. And that was what made him scary. And he didn't have to butcher a school bus full of children to make him scary. He was scary. Because, people that are unpredictable are chaotic 24 hours a day, or they're dangerous. And Scott Peterson summed it up best when he said that the Joker wakes up every morning. He reinvents himself every morning. And that was something I latched onto, and a lot of other writers latched onto, was the idea that, this guy wakes up, he's got a whole different plan today. He's got different goals, things he wants to accomplish. He might even hate what he did yesterday. He might even hate himself, his yesterday version of himself, because he's a new man. And out of this grew the idea that when he talked about his past or talked about himself, he reinvented everything. These are all new inventions each time he told these stories. So there's as many different versions of Joker's origin as there are instances in which he told his origin. So you never know what's true with Joker, which makes him kind of a disturbing character as well. But we move into the realm of the movies, and they take a different route. They basically launch off of what Alan Moore and Frank Miller have done, and they go very, very dark. And the Joker is no longer funny. Even Jack Nicholson's Joker isn't funny. He's just menacing and nasty. And then Heath Ledger and Joaquin Phoenix and all the other people that have played the Joker since, he's kind of he's Hannibal Lecter in clown makeup. And, more and more bloody all the time, more and more nasty all the time, and go darker and darker and darker and darker. And I don't know how popular this Joker is. I think he's more popular with writers than readers, because some writers really are drawn toward, I'm going to make the nastiest Joker story ever. I always wanted to make a Joker story that was clever or interesting. And, but, a lot of people like to get into just the bloodletting and the nastiness and the psychotic, almost horror angles of the Joker, and I don't like that. The other aspect of the Joker I don't like, that was, I think, introduced in Killing Joke, was the fact that the Joker is the flip side of Batman. There's a duality here, and Joker is chaos and Batman is order, and they're drawn together. They have this psychic connection, this astral connection. I don't like it. I don't buy it. Joker's, he's a crazy villain, but he's got a lot of competition on the Batman side. Of the Batman's rogues gallery. There's a lot of nut jobs over there. And he may be the signature one, but he's not the only one. And I don't like the idea that these two are somehow linked together at the soul, that there's some sort of destiny shared by the pair of them. Now, Joker may think this, and I don't even like that concept. But, that their two fates are tied together, I just, it doesn't go anywhere. Where does that go? It's kind of like that's the end of the story. And I'm not a big fan of it. Now, I've written a lot of Joker over the years, and I like writing the Joker, even though I don't like the Joker. I don't like him as a character. I only like writing the Joker because I get a chance to have Batman kick his ass physically or run rings around him mentally. Because the Joker thinks he's so damn clever, and he thinks he's superior to Batman, that his side is going to win ultimately, and Batman always thwarts him, and that's the best part of a Joker story, because in a good guy versus bad guy story, you want a compelling, nasty, seemingly insurmountable bad guy to set your hero up against, and then you get that cathartic thing when that villain is put down. So I loved writing Joker stories. I mean, I literally had Nightwing beat Joker to death in a story, and I loved every second of writing that, because I don't like the character. You're not supposed to like him. I think that's the problem. And when people say, "Oh, I love the Joker," it's like, well, maybe you need to seek some help. I mean, why? Why do you like the Joker? There's nothing charming about him. There's nothing there to like. He's chaos. He's anarchy. And chaos and anarchy are scary. You should be rooting for Batman, not the Joker. Although I see why people like Joker stories. A good Joker story is a good story. He's a formidable foe. But I don't like him. I'd kill him again if I had a chance.